In this next article from the New York Post, Chinese virologist posts reports claiming COVID-19 was made in Wuhan lab. This story's been in a lot of major publications recently. I've read part of the study. This story has been definitely gone over the story a number of times on Real Simple News. I just didn't think it was legit at first, so I didn't look too far into it. So a Chinese virologist who has alleged that COVID-19 was man-made in China released a report on Monday. And she says backs up her explosive claim. Dr. Li Minyan, a former researcher at Hong Kong School of Public Health, posted a paper on the open access repository website Zeno that she claims somehow SARS-CoV2 could be conventionally created in a laboratory setting in 6 months. Paper co-authored by two others is titled Unusual Features of the SARS-CoV2 Genome, suggesting sophisticated laboratory modification rather than natural evolution and delineation of its problematic synthetic root. And one of the strongest reasons to support that is exactly how good it does its job. Some of the supercomputer simulations have shown that SARS-CoV-2 does a lot more stuff than you think inside of the body. It's kind of miraculous. Okay, so if you're going to use a computer to come up with stuff like this, because you can't just a human can't just go in and like you're programming a computer. It's like, oh, I'm just going to hack on this code and we just pop out a deadly virus, right? That's totally not the way you do it. No, that's not how you do it at all. Getting something that actually works and does what you want is it's like more random than winning the lottery. It's a black swan. It happens. Black swan is means something that's exceedingly rare, that it might only happen a small number of times on Earth, but it still happens. Like black swans, they actually exist, but they're so rare that we just say that swans are white, but eventually you'll see a black swan if you look into enough swans. So finding the SARS-CoV-2 combination would be a little bit like cracking an SSH encryption key. It can happen, or not SSH, SHA 256 encryption key. Like you can do that, but it would take supercomputers a very long time. So that's the strongest evidence towards it. The weakest evidence towards it are that we have the SARS and MERS virus that came from bats, and they had similar symptoms. Other scientists out of California have previously published a journal article mapping out the virus genetic sequence, which they say proves SARS-CoV-2 is not a laboratory construct or a purposely manipulated virus. Jan's paper came after an interview she gave with British talk show host Loose Women on Friday, in which she repeated her claims that the coronavirus comes from a lab, the lab in Wuhan, and a lab that is controlled by the Chinese Nazi Party. She insisted that widespread reports that the virus originated last year from a wet market in Wuhan are a smokescreen. First thing is, the meat market is in Wuhan. It's like a smokescreen, and the virus is not from nature. And, quote, Jan claimed, explaining that she got, quote, her intelligence from the CDC in China, from local doctors, end quote. the virologist who claims she did some of the earliest research into COVID-19 last year. She previously accused Beijing of lying when it learned of the killer bug and engaging in extensive cover-up of her work. And, well, that they did actually try to cover it up. I personally think that they staged the scenes of the China COVID these fumigation scenes. I think that they just had fake smoke. I think they were trying to drum up fear about the pandemic so they could cause a global collapse. I don't have any proof of that. But looking back, another thing that they can do is that they can build a fake pandemic hospital, because in the United States, we know we never had to use our pandemic hospitals. We knew that. We never used it. I think they used it for like less than 100 patients or something. So why did China build one this big? To drum up a bunch of fear. They wanted you to be afraid. It's a fear tactic. Same thing with the when they welded people into their apartment buildings with COVID. These scenes also could have been faked. But there's also just as high a probability chance that they just found it in a cave with some bats. There's a higher probability chance that it came from man to animal transmission, or animal to man transmission, because there are millions of animals that come in contact with people each year. And so it's a statistical probability that it's a lot higher that it was one of those animals that transferred it. But there's some features. This woman obviously knows what she's talking about. I'm going to let you read the rest of the article. It's 5:06 in the morning, and I'm wanting to go to bed. So we're going to crank through these articles real quick. But that is the woman, and if you want to read her paper, Zenodo, or Zenodo. You can find the link at realsimplenews.net/issue 106.